Good morning and 早晨. I was hoping DDA and Dr. Ma would spend all my 10 minutes since they had wonderful messages for you, so that I could just come up here and say good morning, 早晨, and sit down. Now, to my surprise, I had 10 minutes, okay? Now, the United States public participation experience has a long history. It's really long and deep and broad, okay? The reason is, in the US, the governing federal statute is the Atomic Energy Act of 1957, almost 60 years ago. And then subsequently, the Environmental Protection Act come into place. So now, the processes, let me jump between the processes and issues and back and forth. And we'll go through the slides really quickly at the end of, right in the middle of my 10 minutes. Now the slide will be posted on the Civic Exchange website, so you can read them at your leisure, and perhaps during the break, you can look at my slide. You're most welcome to look at the slide. Now the process in the United States involved two political and institutional reality. The federal government had absolute control and preemption on any regulation, licensing development, any regulations on nuclear energy. Nobody else had a seat at the table. Reality number one. Now, which is probably the same here. Reality number two is the public opposition and participation is equally passionate on both sides of the aisle. The proponents are organized, a huge amount of money. Only God has perhaps more money than them, because a nuclear power plant generates $3 million a day of revenue. They involve every possible means of proposing and promoting nuclear power. The public opposition is equally strong. There are numerous national and local organizations who dedicate their lifetime to oppose nuclear power. I sat on a litigation case on behalf of the federal government to decide one case, and about 20-some years ago. At that time, the organization is a premier national organization called the Mothers for Peace. Today, they are still here. They still litigate. They still oppose nuclear power passionately. They are now the grandmothers for peace. So you see an organization devote 40 years national effort to oppose nuclear power. Now the process is it's multi-level, federal government, state government, public participation with proponent and opponent, university, trade groups, public utility, manufacturer. There are over 1 to 2 million employees engaged in nuclear power production. Equally important, they're well-organized and politically savvy public members who are determined to improve the process. Now, one thing I think may be worthy of your consideration is you had a 5,000-pound elephant, which is the federal government, in the room who would not let anybody else talk about nuclear policy but them, which is similar to your case here. And then you have state government, like the state of California, who struggle to say, how do I get a seat at the table? How do I influence federal policy? Fully aware of there's a federal preemption. Now this is where I may be able to share some of my experiences. I happen to serve as the chairman of the Diablo Independent Safety Committee, which is the largest nuclear power plant in the state of California right now. It used to be 4, now it's only 2. Diablo Canyon, they together provide electricity for over 2.5 million residences. Now the governor of California thought of this wonderful scheme about 25 years ago. The Diablo Canyon Independent Safety Committee is a statutory committee in the state of California. 3 appointing authority. I was appointed as a member about 4 years ago. The purpose of it is to influence public policy at the federal level, But at the state level, we conduct public hearings 3 times a year, where members of the public come before the committee, would talk about any issue on the record that the federal government is unable or unwilling to address. So this is something for the participant here to think about. You do have a central government asserting absolute authority on nuclear power development on the mainland, and justifiably so, may I say so, justifiably so. Well, witness Fukushima, okay? If the central government of Japan do not step in, you get hell to pay. Nobody else had that resources to manage a nuclear power accident where the technical, financial liability is immense. Now, on the other hand, nuclear power provides major financial and national security benefits. As a central government, you see numerous central governments in the world not only asserting the authority, but insisting on the necessity of nuclear power. Why? It's national security consideration. It has nothing to do with ego and vanity. It has something to do with this base load machine. When you turn it on, make $3 million a day of electricity revenue and provide 2 to 3 million residences of electricity, day and night. Now that said, what are the Hong Kong options in terms of processes? I propose to you one anecdotal evidence for you to consider. What about issue? What do you care about? In the United States, protection of public health and safety is paramount. That includes protection of the environment. But what about finances? What about liability? Now, the government is fully aware of that liability. There was Price-Anderson Act to provide limited liability. It served 2 purposes. One, it meant dictate what the upper limit is, about which you have no claim. Secondly, provide federal subsidy for insurance where private insurance is unable and unwilling to provide. Now, again, that is essential for nuclear power because among its numerous benefits comes with a liability a free society must debate. Fukushima was ready to retire 2 weeks before its accident. If it has retired, it had returned every penny the investor had put in Fukushima. Instead, now it assumed, I don't know who would assume the liability, it had incurred a liability of well over 100,000 million US dollars. That is a price tag. By the time it was done, the price tag would go up by about a factor of 2 to 3. That means it has enough money to buy every single residence property in Hong Kong. Now, on the other hand, we in the United States had 104 nuclear power plants, provide 20% of electricity to the nation. Okay, you cannot walk away from that technology without incurring significant financial, social, and national security penalties. So to the member of the public here, what are the issues you are willing and able to entertain? Is it protection of public health and safety? Do we protect the environment? Do you want money? By wanting money, I mean a nuclear power plant is usually the largest property taxpayer in that location. It's usually the largest employer in that location. In the United States, they employ 2,000 people per plant, and these are unionized jobs, pay $50, $30, $50 per hour of wages. Right. So you do have determined proponents who have financial interest invested in that facility. You do have a determined opponent who will worry about risk and liability. Oh, since Veronica showed me on 1 minute, one more thought. Now the battle in the United States had tilted into another way. it's money. Instead of intervening and pushing for demonstration of safety, now the push is, let's go to the Public Utility Commission, which set electricity rates in return of investment. The push is, show it to us that this plan will be profitable. Show it to us at the end of the day, you had enough money to decommission. So these are the thoughts I leave with you, and I would gladly share with you my slide, but we have 20 slides, and perhaps I can show it to you in about 1 second, Veronica. No, you're most welcome to look at my slides. Thank you.